Hi everybody. This video will be an appreciation for BioWare, one of my favorite game developers. And the reason why they are one of my favorite game developers is their output in their golden era, which for me personally is from about Knights of the Old Republic till Dragon Age Inquisition. I think that's their last good game. In this period, which was like a decade of games, they just released banger after banger. They made Mass Effect, they made Knights of the Old Republic, they made Dragon Age. Of course there's a few misses in there. Even their misses have many redeemable aspects and very good moments. Mass Effect 3 is probably the low point of the trilogy, of the original Mass Effect trilogy. And it still has some of the best moments in the entire trilogy and in the entirety of BioWare games. So I started playing BioWare games when they gave away Mass Effect 2 on Origin in I think 2016, so I was about 13 or 14 at the time. And it was kind of a weird game to give away because they gave away Mass Effect 2, which is like the middle entry in the franchise. So you jump like right into the middle of this trilogy. As a teenager playing that game, the feeling of being in command I got from that game was genuinely one of the most magical experiences I've ever had with video games. I loved being able to make all these choices, and now that I've played the game like 5 or 6 times, I know that most of them don't really matter that much, but you know, when I was that age and when I played that for the first time, I didn't know that, and I thought it was awesome. I still do, actually. Mass Effect 2 made me realize 2 things. 1, I like science fiction, and 2, I like role-playing games. And who has better role-playing games than BioWare? So I started playing Knights of the Old Republic and I loved that. The feeling I got from playing that the first time was just magical in my opinion. Such an immersive experience for me, and I really like the progression in the game. I think Knights of the Old Republic has one of the best progressions ever in a role-playing game. You start out with like shitty vibroblades and having to scrounge for money, and by the end you're this Jedi with awesome powers, and the feeling of progression is just, it's so good. And I felt like throughout playing the game, I felt myself becoming so much more powerful. And Dragon Age Origins, Jesus Christ, that's a good RPG. Dragon Age Origins is so overwhelming with like the choice and consequence in that game. Like the Landsmeet scene can play out so differently, and it's so awesome. Really like that your actions throughout the game come back in that one scene. It's such a good moment. And it has such a fantastic antagonist. I think Logan is a very interesting character because he isn't a bad guy. He's kind of, I feel kind of sympathetic towards him because he wasn't necessarily a bad guy. He just wanted to defend Ferelden, like whatever the cost. The only reason why he betrayed the king at the Battle of Ostagar was because he was like communicating with the Empress of Orlais to stop the Blight. I love the dark fantasy setting that Dragon Age has. I also think that the Darkspawn are just a very cool enemy. So yeah, BioWare has all these amazing games, and as I said, even the misses have great moments. Mass Effect 3, which is a game that didn't get enough time to be developed. I mean, curing the genophage in that game was so fucking awesome. It has such incredible moments. And as I said, I like Mass Effect 2, but the suicide mission is one of the best final missions in any game ever. The music is so perfect. It is exciting, it's thrilling, it's just great. I mean, the suicide mission theme is already incredible, and general suicide mission is just so good. It's really, you get the feeling that everything is coming together, like everything you did up until that point is coming together in this one final mission. Everything you've been working towards, like every upgrade you installed on your ship and every squad mate you recruited, they all come back in this one mission, in this final mission, and it's incredible. And I mean, the big reveal in Knights of the Old Republic is so good. They set it up throughout the entire game, and when they pull down the curtains and, you know, do the big reveal, everything kind of like clicks, you know? You get these flashbacks to things that happened earlier, which kind of, you know, it completes the puzzle. And my god, does KOTOR have a good soundtrack. BioWare games have always had great soundtracks. Dragon Age has such a good soundtrack. Mass Effect especially. I love the Mass Effect soundtrack. I listen to the Mass Effect soundtrack in my free time when I'm listening to music, you know, that's how good it is. One scene in Mass Effect 1 when Sovereign is like docking on the Citadel Tower is so much better because of the music that plays, and the screen like turns around slowly and there's this epic music playing. That's just such an incredible scene, and I think BioWare is one of the few game developers who in their prime were able to deliver these fantastic moments where everything just kind of worked together. You know, the music was great, there's great cinematography, just a general coolness, like the scene in Mass Effect 1 is just so cool to watch. BioWare games have also been known for their companions, and they have had some great companions, like Oregon from Dragon Age Origins or Garrus from Mass Effect. And these games are known for their romances, and I don't really care about the sex scenes. I don't think they're very good. I wish they would just skip them. I think they're kind of unnecessary. But these games have some really good romances. I think especially Bastila from Knights of the Old Republic. It's one of my favorite romances in gaming. I like that you don't she doesn't immediately fall in love and want to have kids with you or anything. And you know, there's the thing about you're not allowed to love someone, you're not allowed to enter this personal relationship if you're a Jedi, because you know that leads to the dark side, because passion leads to the dark side and stuff like that. There's this interesting and kind of unique tension, because usually in a game, in like romances, you just flirt with someone and then they like you. But Bastila kind of feels like her own person in this game, and I think it's very impressive for a game that is this old to have such a well-developed romance. And when she gets captured, Bastila, by Malak later on in the game, and she gets tortured, and she's turned to the dark side by Malak, when you finally meet her and she's turned to the dark side, it feels so much more personal. It's such a fantastic moment. I like that you can convince your love to, you know, return to the light side again. It's so personal in a way that not many games are able to deliver. It's so much better than if it was just like a random companion you have. The fact that you've been trying to romance her throughout the entire game, and this happens to her, and you can like turn her back to the light side if you want to, of course that's optional. But moments like that, when you finally do convince her to return to the light side, it's so much better because of the history you have with that character. And that's just something that BioWare does very well, in my opinion. I also like the importing of save files from games, so that like in Mass Effect 3, choices you made back in Mass Effect 1 come back. And usually stuff like that, they don't really change that much around. But I do think it's very cool that BioWare went the extra mile to deliver this experience, because the Witcher games do the same thing. In The Witcher 3, if you import your Witcher 2 save file, it changes like a handful of things. And it's really disappointing. But in BioWare games, they really try to make your choices have an impact. Even no matter how small, I think it's still very cool that they follow things, and it makes these games feel like a lot more of a personal journey, you know, because the choice I made in Mass Effect 1 or 2 comes back later on, and someone else who was playing this game might have taken a different choice. He might have made a different choice in the same situation, and you would get a different result, and stuff like that is just so cool. So yeah, I think you get the gist of it. I really love BioWare games. I think they are very unique experiences. They have just been able to deliver some of the best moments in gaming. And I think they're the top dogs of RPGs. Not anymore. Unfortunately, they might reclaim that place back with like the new Dragon Age and the new Mass Effect. I hope so. But anyway, that's basically just my appreciation for BioWare. I just wanted to talk about these amazing experiences that BioWare games have always delivered. Leave a comment if you have anything to add to this. Maybe you have like your own reason why you like these BioWare games. So anyway, thank you for watching. Goodbye.